It's time for the Engaged Club, the podcast for club managers and operators that strive to create loyal and connected members, guests, and customers. Here are the two guys with the club management and digital marketing advice you need to realize your club's potential. Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Roger Kincaid. I'm the sales guy, the marketing guy from Off Course Golf. You can find our website at offcourse.golf.
I'm Jim Hope, and I'm the GM of the Derrick Golf and Winter Club. And Roger, proud to say that this podcast is supported by the Canadian Society of Club Managers.
Jim, I'm pumped because I get to do a speaking engagement at the CSCM conference this fall in London, Ontario. I hope to see some people there. I'm pretty sure I'll be seeing you there, bud.
Guaranteed.
I'm kind of drawing on something that I've presented on in the past, and it's really a critical part of marketing. It's a critical part of sales, but it's an even more critical part of branding for your club's brand. And I want to focus today, Jim, on something I call engage every eyeball early. Engage every eyeball early, right? It's a simple sentence, 4 words. They all start with an E. Engage every eyeball early. And a lot of clubs fail to do this. And I don't know how you could possibly measure what it costs them on the bottom line, but I know it would be a big, big number.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear, you mentioned before we got started that you were going to talk about this, and I'm anxious to sort of dig into this with you a little bit and find out more about it. So dive in, Raj, would you?
Yeah. So you and we had a great golf experience one time. We were at a club that I won't name. And when I say great golf experience, I mean, Jim and I together on the golf course, we're always going to have a lot of fun. This particular club was not one of the finer places that we've ever played golf at. And right when we're walking in the front door, there's in a big planter pot right by the front door of the club, there's a dead tree of some sort, like a dead, shrub. And Jim, walking a few steps ahead of me, turns around and goes, "Boy, I really love the horticulture program at this point."
It was this awesome first impression, right? Oh God, it was brutal.
And you know what? And tell me, didn't it just sort of frame the rest of the day? Didn't it kind of paint a vivid picture of the kind of care and consideration that club, had undertaken for itself, and the kind of experience that we got the rest of the day?
Well, if that didn't, when we called in for the third golf cart on the front 9 because the first 2 had broken down, that certainly did frame what the rest of the day was going to look like on the golf course. Yeah.
Okay, so let me wind it back a little bit then to this philosophy of engage every eyeball early. Every eyeball is not just your customer that's walking into the club. It's not just your member, but it's also your staff, your team members as well, because they need to have some sense of pride, and they need to see that this place is worth taking care of, and that impressions matter. First, second, and third impressions really, really count. Now, the human brain, there's been a lot of studies done on this, Jim, but the human brain makes a judgment in a fraction of a second, less than half a second. And to give you an idea what this looks like, I want you to kind of picture yourself in your easy chair, your remote control in hand, and you're channel surfing. How long do you stop on a channel before you determine if that's something that you want to watch? You buzz right through it, don't you? You don't give every single stop 5 minutes to see if this show's going to work for you. You make an impression in a split second. You decide that I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to keep going. Now, isn't that true?
Absolutely. Dead solid true. Yep.
Right. So then when you're walking into a golf club and you see that dead tree right by the front door, you might as well turn around. Like, that you're now at a golf club that the experience is probably going to be subpar, not necessarily worth your time or money. Now, imagine if you are trying to recruit a member and you've done all of the hard work of prospecting, and you've got it to the point where that prospect is going to come to the club and they are going to have a meeting with you about whether or not this decision is a good fit for their lifestyle. You need everything to be working in your favor on the way up. You need to engage every eyeball early, right? You need to make sure that that dead tree is not standing by the front door, but more importantly, that the garbage is swept up. There's no gum wrappers, or there's no, like you talk about that sort of McDonald's wrapper, Jim. Make sure that all those moments of truth are taken care of, because those impressions can be very, very costly. And if you fail to make a good first impression and to engage those eyeballs early, then you might just be, sending a sale down the road to your competition, or just losing it into the ether altogether.
Well, and I think the other thing that happens too, Roger, is that you're touring them the club and you meet them in the lobby and you're taking them for a tour and you tell them all about who you are and your attention to detail and how important all those things are. And they go, yeah, but I just walked by a McDonald's bag in the parking lot and there was fingerprints all over the front door, and the person at the front desk never even said hello to me. So, I'm going to call you on that, big shooter. So it's about walking the talk, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it absolutely is. Now, I think that, so far in this episode, Jim, it's really just about not making the mistakes, right? Table stakes is that, your place looks clean. It looks like it's ready for business, and it looks like it's worth the money and the commitment that we're asking a member to put up. But let's kind of take this to 11, right? Let's turn this up to 11. So we've done all the prospecting, and let's say now we've got some meetings lined up with some prospects, and we're going to have them coming in every couple of hours over the next, day or two or three, right? Then let's decorate the entryway for our club, for those prospects that are coming through the door. So, they might, your regular member will typically get an excellent experience, nicely furnished foyer, for example, or, an excellent entryway. That's great. But for those prospects, maybe we can do something a little bit extra to let them know about the stuff that they would eventually come to know that this club is famous for if they became a member here, but that they might not see on the first day that they walk through the clubhouse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does. And what about if you had a sign out in the front, just at the front door that said, "Welcome, Jim and Jane. I hope you enjoy your visit at our club."
Exactly, right? Now that's seriously engaging the eyeball.
You bet.
Here's an exercise that you can do then, right? If you want to understand how engaging every eyeball early makes an impact for some notorious brands, some huge brands, walk into a Nike store or walk into a Starbucks and just see what is really, really important to Starbucks. It's the way that the items are organized on the shelves. It's the way that all of the packaging of their products sort of blends together, and it looks almost like it's been, over-designed, artistically done. It's the accents of what the countertops are made of. It's the fact as well that they write the name on the side of every cup. That is a brand that really works very, very hard and diligently to engage the eyeball of their customer. McDonald's does the same thing, particularly with their menu. When you walk into a McDonald's, you should basically be able to find your way around the place very, very easily because they want to deliver a fast and efficient meal, right? But what they really don't need people doing in a McDonald's restaurant is staring at a menu full of words and trying to figure out what they want to order. So instead, they put up these big, bright, beautiful pictures on backlit displays on LCD screens that say, "Look at this sandwich. This is what you want. Don't hesitate. Order it now. Your mouth is already watering." So it's all about engaging that eyeball and guiding that prospect to do to the experience that you want them to have.
Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying, Roger, is that don't leave anything to chance, right? Like everything has to have a purpose, and whether it be what you're seeing, what you're touching, what you're tasting, make sure that it has a purpose in the experience or in the place where it is.
Yeah, exactly that. And harness the fact that, that we're visual creatures, right? Harness the fact that when we see something that's really appealing, we're drawn to it. I mean, it's human nature. So that if there's a way for you to make your club more visually appealing to that prospect that you're looking to have, become a full-fledged member, then do it. Make the investment.
Yeah. And, one thing I think that we could all do a better job of is remind ourselves every once in a while to drive through the front gates of the club as if it's our first day in the club. Mm-hmm. And look at it as if it's the first, we're trying to garner our first impressions again of the club. So often we just see it and forget about it. So remind yourself that you're walking into the club and then through the front doors, and it's your first day in. What do you see?
Yeah, and if you see a dead tree by the front door, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it helpful, please share it with your friends in the club business. We always like to hear from you as well by email at hello@engagedclub.com. And until next time, thanks for listening.
This has been the Engaged Club podcast with Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with your fellow club managers and operators. Until next time, thanks for listening.